So today I want to cover a bit of a deeper subject with you guys, and I made a video about this last year, which was, why do you make music? What is the reason for you wanting to make music your career, and what is it about music that you want to wake up every single day and make awesome tracks from your home studio? What are you in this for, essentially? And that was a really well-received video. I got a lot of great comments and feedback based on that, and a lot of people, it really helped them. Because we get distracted and we get kind of lost in the tunnel vision of, well, I'm trying to really, build up my catalog, partner with this library. I want to get these placements, or, I want to get a bunch of fans on my social media. And so we get lost in these little tasks and goals and accomplishments that we really are setting our eyes on. And sometimes, as simple as it is and as kind of crazy as it is, we just lose track of the reason why we're doing it all, right? Because we got so lost in, no, we got to get that placement. We got to get into this library. I got to build up my catalog. I got to get these fans to like my music. We lose sight of it. We were so now about the goal that we forgot about the reason, like why we're doing any of this. And I wanted to share a bit of wisdom, because this is not only my point of view and my opinion, but I've actually been emailed by many very prominent producers, DJs, big people who have gotten gold, platinum records, toured the world, been on stage with name brands, household names that you would know. But they don't want to obviously be public about the fact that they are now getting into music licensing. But some of them have basically told me the reality of what it's like to actually be sort of at the top of their craft, but not be satisfied. And this is a common story I've heard across the board in almost every segment of the music business, from producers to bands to DJs to audio engineers. They've got all the records on their wall. They've got all the gold and platinum records. They've got even Grammys. They've gotten awards, and they're not satisfied. And there's really, it wasn't enough for them to want to keep going with it. It's sort of the pot at the end of the rainbow when they received it was kind of empty. There really wasn't much there for them. And I want to warn and caution many of you that might be right now looking to the fact that, well, I need to get my tracks on TV and then I'll be, successful and happy and feel like I've accomplished something, or I need to get a charting track out there, or I need to get this many followers or this many subscribers, or else I'm not really doing anything yet. And what's the point until I have the achievement, right? And we sometimes idolize and sort of make images, graven images, out of these achievements that a lot of producers and musicians are going for. I mean, just a classic example is winning a Grammy. I mean, that's usually the biggest dream of most producers, bands, sound engineers and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of people get lost in that if they don't win it, they don't get nominated, they don't get even close to being on stage to be recognized at the Grammys, they feel like a failure. They feel like, what was all this for? I got cheated, right? I didn't get recognized. I didn't get my respect. And I think a lot of this comes down to boiling down to validation. I think a lot of people psychologically need validation. We all do. We really all do want to have somebody come along and say, you know what? You're pretty good. You're pretty talented. I like what you're doing. You've really made some really cool stuff here, right? If it's a song, if it's an album, if it's TV, film, music, right? It is nice to be validated by somebody else, a professional, somebody that you respect, going, you see this kid right here? This kid's got some great stuff. That feels really good, and we all want that, myself included, okay? So I'm not exempt from any of this. But that's what we call validation. We want that validation from somebody who's in the business, who's successful, or just necessarily maybe just from our peers, just other people who are doing this, and we want validation from people. But the tricky thing about validation is that it's fleeting, and even when you get it, it doesn't last forever, because the next year there's another award ceremony and another Grammys and another TV show that maybe you didn't get placed on. So the feeling and the moment of validation is temporary, and it comes and goes. Okay, so it's not something you can control, because you can't control whether or not you get acknowledged, or you win an award, or you get the goal that you want, or whatever it is. And it obviously doesn't last that long, right? You get high, you get buzzed off of it, but then after a couple of weeks or months, it's over. Okay, it's nice, you have it on your wall, you have this little accomplishment, but you still gotta get into your studio and keep making music, right? And that's what I always try to remind everybody that, watches my YouTube channel, and, my syndicate members. I'm always telling them this, is you got to remember, always keep it real. What are you doing this for? Because the money, the placements, the notoriety, the awards, the fans, whatever you're in this for, whatever you're getting, that stuff comes and goes. You'll get payments, you'll get big checks, you'll get big placements, and then you won't. And those big placements that you get are exciting, and then they go away. And you might get an award, you might get recognized for something, and that really gets you buzzing, and that's awesome. And then in a year or two, you're yesterday's tomatoes. And it's like, okay, yeah, you won that award a couple years ago, but it's like, what are you doing now, right? You're always judged on what you're doing now. And I want to caution you guys to, if you are getting really too goal obsessed about winning the thing, getting the placement, whatever that is, maybe today would be a good day to sort of step back from that and self-reflect a little bit about what are you doing all this for? Because those things will come and go. You may accomplish your specific goals, you may not. But if you don't, or even if you do get them, that's not going to keep you satisfied in the long run. I'm just telling you that right now. I can guarantee you that, 100%. You're not going to feel satisfied for years and years and years, decades and decades off of one placement you get, or one check that you get, or one accomplishment, or one award, right? So what is it that you're in this for, and how are you going to ensure that you stay excited and motivated and encouraged to keep being creative and keep pushing yourself creatively and try new things, and not let yourself get jaded and just sort of settle into your sort of mold of creating the same template kind of sounding music that you've been doing? For myself, it is literally about the feeling I get after I've created a track and I give myself goosebumps. It's super simple. It's super basic, but that feeling is unmatched by anything else in life. Nothing else can match that. And I'm addicted to giving myself that feeling as much and as often as I possibly can. And it's something even about just starting a new track in the hopes that I can give myself that feeling and that sense of like, wow, this is really, really cool what I've done here. And I've almost like impressed myself. Just the excitement, anticipation, and the hunger of starting a new track, of hopefully getting to that place, is also part of it, right? It's the anticipation, it's the building towards the satisfaction of I've created something that's just awesome, that I really like, that I'm proud of, that I want to show off, and that I'm just excited that I did. That's what I'm in this for. I love creating music. I love challenging myself. I love being surprised. I love not ever having it all figured out, because music can always throw you a curveball. Something you think would work won't work. And sometimes limiting your options creates the most creativity. So I love the fact that, you know, music to me is just like this never-ending brain tease puzzle, this jigsaw puzzle that you almost can never figure out. But it's enough, you can figure out enough of it to be satisfied, but not enough to get bored with it, right? That's kind of the magic of music, at least for me. I get bored of things pretty quickly. If I figured out how to master something, I kind of move on to something else. It's just not interesting anymore because I figured it out. Music has always been that sort of challenge that doesn't ever let me tame it. I can never completely quite 100% tame it, but I can get, you know, 80%, 90% there. But there's always those little variables, those things that just kind of come out of the blue and surprise me or challenge me. And if I'm not hitting those 10 or 20% things that are making it interesting for me, I have to create those things by going into a new lane, trying a new sound, right? I have to create sort of my own challenge in that way. But it's always there. Like, music is always presenting that opportunity to constantly challenge you and help you grow as a musician, as a producer. So I challenge you right now, what are you into music for? Like, what are you doing this for? Why are you pursuing it? Especially if you're getting into music licensing. You know, I'm really trying to speak to you, because if you're in this for trying to get, you know, notoriety, fame, you want to get a bunch of placements, you want to get a bunch of money, you're going to burn out. It's not going to be enough for you. You're never going to be satisfied if you're chasing those kinds of things. They're very finite, temporary goals. But giving yourself goosebumps, getting high on your own supply, right? That is something that you can do every single day. You can get into your studio and you can do that every day. So I want you to comment below. Let me know, what are you in this for? What is your end goal? Why are you doing this? Why are you trying to make music your full-time job? Why are you making music at all, right? It's kind of a more, you know, self-reflective sort of a question. And I don't want you just to type the first thing that comes to your head, and really just spend a couple of minutes and think about this. Really, what is it about music that keeps you coming back, that keeps you wanting to do this? And make a lot of, you've been making tons of sacrifices, I know, in your life to do this. What's it all for? It's really important to be clear about your goals now before you get too far into the business, so that you don't get lost. That's what happens to a lot of producers. They get lost in the goals and the fame and the, you know, the money. and all those things that are fickle, and then they lose themselves in the process of all that. So I'm trying to make sure you guys don't do that and learn from others' mistakes. So please comment below, let me know.